I feel like it might have to be top 8 or 9. I don't think 10th sees him here next season.
Yeah.
I think he definitely sees out this season. I think that's what 3 years tells you, is that he gets this season regardless.
Yeah.
But I think if it's 15th, it might be a handshake at the end of the season.
Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe, that's Jay Marty, that's Stephen Howson, and this is Off the Bar. Today we're going to be talking about Ruben Amorim, specifically Jim Ratcliffe's comments about Ruben Amorim.
Nice hoodie, Jay.
Thank
Lovely
you, bro.
hoodie.
Where are they available?
They're available from, I think you get them from Manchester Uni.
Yeah, all good universities.
What uni did you go to?
Salford.
Oh, did you?
Same thing, yeah.
Right, yeah.
What did you do?
I thought you was MMU, actually.
No.
What did you do at Salford?
Television and radio production.
Masters?
No.
Oh,
What did you do? What did you do?
I just did a Masters and not.
In what?
Uni stuff.
Oh,
Like, I don't know, documentary production for TV, film and digital media, there you
fantastic.
Yeah.
There's loads to talk about, and I want to get our opinions on this as well.
I never finished.
And yet you're the most successful out of all of us.
Well, it was
How
quantity
strange.
surveying that I was doing it in.
God. It's not.
That is
Right.
horrible.
Quantity-
Are you glad you didn't do that?
Yeah.
He does love a spreadsheet though, doesn't he?
No, I'm just black belting it.
You are. It's your hidden talent. Anyway, I think we need to apologise for you, Joseph, because we've upset everyone.
Go on.
On behalf of him.
Yeah, actually, you should be doing the apologies.
I don't even know.
Me, Steve and Macca were getting trolled last week for interrupting you.
What, like you've done already this podcast?
Right, can everyone Joe Smith's too good for this channel. Joe Smith should be presenting somewhere better.
You should fuck off.
Joe Smith, these dickheads are so unprofessional, interrupting Joe every time he wants to speak.
Yeah, listen, can I just say, for once and for all, if you want professional, fuck off, right?
Also, but to counter that, Adam McCullough is serving a one-match ban for last week's conduct, so
Is
he
it?
won't be here. So that's why.
Is that why he's not here?
Yeah, I just said.
Is that why he left the group chat?
It's a Tottenham
in a huff?
procedure. It's 5 yellows over the
By
first
the way,
weeks of the season.
How's he not got 5 yellows already?
Mac only just because I'm like Cam. I don't know how. Sometimes just get away with it.
Yeah.
About 20 minutes ago, Mac has just gone, Ross, what's all this about?
Yeah. So he wasn't necessarily as clued up as some people about yesterday's news.
Adam, the Pulse, McCullough.
Yeah. We're going to talk about
He still
that.
rings me when I'm on a live.
He's going to be like,
still
Ross.
rings at 10 to 11. Like, almost like
Has Anthony Martial
weekly. Yeah.
They're
You're
getting
like,
sick of him in Monterey, by the way.
really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's not scored yet.
He's only been there 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. He's not doing
Nah, I
that.
don't know how long he's been there for.
I want to talk about Amorim, but specifically through the lens of Ratcliffe's comments, what we
Like
make of
through a
those.
lens.
Also, looking at some of the comparisons he made specifically to Arsenal and kind of what we would need to follow their trajectory.
Could we not follow their trajectory? Could we follow on that one?
Well, obviously that would be the end goal, but in terms of going from getting 50-odd points a season to 80-odd points a season, let's start with that trajectory.
It's
and see
flawed,
where
that
we
though,
can-
isn't it?
Well, we can go through all of that.
For several reasons.
Okay, well, we'll revisit in a minute, but why do you think it's flawed, first of all?
Right, because the whole point with Amorim is, has he got time? Is he being given time? I know that's literally what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's talking about. But Arteta bought himself time with a trophy win.
Okay.
Like, whether you think, oh, it was Emery's team, whatever, he still won the FA Cup, and that is a major trophy. And that was his get-out-of-jail-free card when the knives were out for him. It was like, look, I am doing all the changes, I am moving the club forward, it is going to take a while. At least he's won something.
Yeah.
Like, people going,
I'm
oh, at least he's
Google
won
who they
something.
actually played in that cup run. You know?
I'm not. I mean, they played City in the
They beat
semi-final.
City and they beat Chelsea.
Yeah, so
it wasn't a
look,
fluke.
I'm not saying that's the
2020.
Yeah.
But
They beat the Jabs.
It gave them something. It
Yeah.
gave him a little bit
we'll
of
get into
breathing
all of
room,
that.
and that's why, regardless of what you think of FA Cup, whatever, that's why it's slightly different because Amorim hasn't done that. He hasn't got
Yeah.
that where he can go, look, I've at least done this.
But I guess the
Which
difference
is part of the
Sheffield
worry.
United in the quarterfinals, Portsmouth in the 5th round.
Right, well,
Bournemouth
they're two of the
and
most
Leeds.
historic clubs in English football history, so I don't know why you're dismissing that.
I
mate.
guess you could say, though, and we will get through all of this, but I guess you could say the person who's making this claim isn't Amorim himself, it's the owner who decides whether he gets sacked or not.
That's a fair comment.
So, yes, he might not have an FA Cup right now, which he could obviously win one this season. That doesn't mean that, it might keep the knives off his back in terms of fans and the press, but if his literal manager, or boss, should I say, in Jim Ratcliffe is saying, we think it's going to be 3 years, it almost doesn't matter who else cares, does it? But obviously we can look at all that.
I do think that's a fair comment. I just feel
Yeah.
like the whole Arsenal argument is slightly flawed because Ole would have got more time if he'd have won that Europa League final. The problem with Ole, he didn't win anything. He didn't have anything to say, I can win
Just think
trophy.
how nuts that is. He was coming second and third, and he was in cup
mate,
finals,
don't get me
and
started.
people were going, "This is fucking shit."
Yeah.
This is proper shit. Didn't we actually say a couple of weeks ago? I'm pretty sure it was one of our little Tuesday specials where we said I'd love it if like the ownership came out and went.
Well, first of all, what did you make of those comments? Because I saw you said "love this" on Twitter.
That's because that's what I thought.
But there was a ... at the end, which I didn't know if that was implying sarcasm or whether it was. This is what I mean. So what? Just overall, I'll go through some of the quotes quickly before we get you an
ellipsis for starters.
An ellipses. So just talking about Amorim, obviously Ratcliffe in this interview with the Times Business podcast, he said, "I don't want to answer that question about sacking Amorim because it's not on the cards. You can't run a club like Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions to some journalist who goes off on one every week." He said, "Look at Mikel Arteta at Arsenal, which we will do in great depth. He had a miserable time the first couple of years. Now look what he's achieved. Ruben needs time to demonstrate he's a great coach over 3 years because things don't happen overnight." He also said about Amorim, he's a good guy. I think he's the right man. He's not at the best of seasons, but then again, he's not had the best of squads. So
I like what he's saying, by the way, and I do want him to back Amorim. I get it, and I want Amorim to succeed. However, I just feel like the Arsenal analogy doesn't quite work for me because there's a trophy and because the sort of tough times that Arteta had, which he did. There was a lot of criticism. What was it, eighth?
Well, we'll get into the details and stuff. Yeah,
15.
No, I think there were 2 8th place finishes.
Yeah, 8th and 5th.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you there.
I think it was 8th and 5th.
Right, was it 2 8ths and a 5th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, you're getting excited again talking about 8ths and 5ths.
I might have to make a phone call. I'm joking. So that was poor by Arsenal standards. Let's not pretend it wasn't. But again, it's not quite what we're seeing at United, is it? Or do you disagree?
Well,
seeing as this is your fucking show, apparently.
I mean, well, it's not. It's everyone's show. Specifically, I think that just because the exact numbers aren't the same, I think to throw out the whole comparison, it would. Because if you can't get a comparison with that, I think you're struggling to look at any comparisons. Who else has done anything like this? I think you need to. We don't necessarily need a comparison, but I do think a team going from, outside European places to challenging for league titles, there's only a handful of them to go at. And the City one doesn't make sense because they got a infinite cash injection, as did Chelsea. Liverpool were always kind of there or thereabouts, but maybe you could use them as an example. Arsenal
they only dropped to 8th as well, didn't they?
I think they did once. Yeah.
They had.
I just think Arsenal is the closest one to copy. Again, Leicester isn't even worth looking at because we wouldn't. I agree with that. Yeah. So I think if you are to try and look at other teams that have done dropped down the way we did and then brought it back, you're running out of comparisons if you don't use Arsenal. But also, you don't have to use a comparison. So
I won't look one out.
No, that's true. But just let's just reel it back a little bit. So on Ratcliffe's comments, what did you make of them as a whole? The time and the fact that he said it as emphatically as he did.
Yeah, I loved it because I literally sat, I think, in this seat and said I wanted that. So I didn't think I was going to get it. Yeah. Certainly not within a couple of weeks. So yeah, I did love it, and hence why I tweeted, "Love this," because it shuts down a lot of the noise. And I don't know if the noise is worth an early goal. I don't know if the noise is worth holding on to a win. I don't know if the noise helps make training just a little bit better. But if there's a chance it does, I'm here for it. I would like to see it turned around as much as possible. And I don't think the comparisons are relative. I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson, with the start that he has, survives with the modern day scrutiny of 24-hour news cycle media. I also don't know if he finishes as high as 13th if he also went the distance in a Europa League Cup run at the time as well, with the squad that he had and the circumstances that he found himself in. Because you have to take into account that we probably phoned in some results last season, which plays into the not won a back-to-back game. Because we played about 900 matches in Europe, in between stuff. In which we did win back-to-back games at times. Yeah. Yeah. Not that they're the same, but it's still worth mentioning. Yeah, and fundamentally the overall record is still not good enough by a long stretch. There has to be tangible things that he gets right. He has to start turning things in the right order. I think he got backed. The board demonstrated that they're willing to trust him with the signings that they gave him in the summer. I still think that there's a glaring hole in midfield that has to be fixed. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine they've said to him, "Don't worry about this year. We'll sort you out a midfielder and we'll start judging you from next year." I'm sure it's all going into the ledger. But I think that it shows real strength from Jim Ratcliffe to come out and go against the narrative and actually hit back at the narrative in a certain sense.
Yeah.
We're not going to be knee-jerk. We are in it for the long haul. This is our man. We believe in him and the team that's around him, not necessarily the team on the pitch. He acknowledges that the squad isn't good enough. I think it was a very important message that hopefully does quieten down some noise. And while we're on this, I mentioned it to you when I was upstairs earlier. Have you ever seen Sky Sports do an inside any club? They may well have done. I've never seen it the way that was for United yesterday.
Was it Inside Man United run it at 7 o'clock yesterday, something like that? A whole sort of basically show on us and that interview. Just on the wider point, I know we spoke about it a bit on Transfers Live or Paddock Live yesterday, but just for people who are watching this who haven't seen that, what did you make of, basically the same question to Steve, the comments, the fact that he said them, not just what was said, the whole sort of situation around this?
I mean, you can't have it both ways, I suppose. Like, a lot of us, one of the criticisms we had of the Glazers, one of the many criticisms we had of the Glazers, and we still have, was they never even spoke about Manchester United publicly.
They were perfect about it.
Yeah. Like, they do interview after interview about Tampa Bay, whatever, but they wouldn't talk about Manchester United at all. And I'm not saying that would have solved all the problems. We still hated him, but we did want owners that are at least vocal and at least let you know what they're thinking. Whereas with Jim Ratcliffe, it's the other way around. He'll tell you everything he's thinking. He does interview after interview.
He has really spilt the tea like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. And sometimes he feels like he's making decisions during the interview, like he did with Gary Neville about the ex-players fund or whatever it was. So I do appreciate that because I wanted more of that from an owner. We're getting that, and you can see there's still an element of maybe him sort of finding his feet with this all as well, because despite the fact he's the 7th richest man in Britain or whatever, and he owns, Ineos, it's not the same as being the face of Manchester United and owning Manchester United or owning a big chunk of Manchester United. The scrutiny, the amount of media, the desire for everyone to hear what you've got to say about so many different aspects of the club is nothing like you've ever experienced before. So you can see he's still sort of getting used to some of this as well. He said the right things, I think. I've said this before about him. I get where he's coming from. I'm not 100% in agreement with some of the decisions he's made. I think some of them were a bit stupid, for want of a better word, like the Christmas bonuses and travel to the Wembley and all that nonsense. It didn't save enough money for it to be remotely worth the bad PR you get from it. But I understand that his approach is, this is broken, I'm trying to fix it with just the same sort of methods that I've used elsewhere. So I understand that, and I still feel like with Ratcliffe, like with Ineos, maybe even with Amorim as well, there's an element of the jury's still out. Yeah. I don't feel like I can say Ineos have been are a failure or a success yet. I'm waiting to see what is going on.
The only thing I can say with certainty is that I actually do think they give a fuck.
I agree with that.
And I can categorically say that the Glazers didn't.
Yeah, I completely agree
with that. I think that
well.
the not speaking, as much, someone who doesn't care spouting off all the time is just as bad as someone who doesn't care saying nothing, or maybe worse. But not speaking illustrates the point that they just don't care. They don't think about United, but there's something other than just a bit of money over the pond.
This is the reason. Check.
Yeah, this was the reason that annoyed me. If they weren't a family or weren't people that gave interviews, I could maybe understand it. But if you Googled, like, I don't know, fucking Trevor Glazer or whatever they're called, and you saw, like, just put in a video search, there'd be an interview at Tampa Bay Buccaneers where they're telling you everything they want to know. All of them do that, yet none of them will speak about Manchester United because they just think, like Steve said, they didn't give a shit. Yeah. So they didn't feel like they needed to face the media or even had any desire to do so. Where, again, like you've both said, Ratcliffe, I at least think he does. I at least think, even if it's purely, right, some people say, oh, Jay's not even a United fan, he's a Chelsea fan, right? Purely if it's a sense of his ego, of like, I don't want
a fucking United
I know,
fan.
but even if you don't buy that, even from an ego point, he doesn't want to be the guy that's failed at Manchester United. He just doesn't. You can tell that. He wants this to succeed. Now, you might argue about his methods and whether it's the right way, but he wants to have success at Manchester United. And when I say success, I don't just mean like he wants to be able to make more money. I think he wants to be able to turn this club around. And with the Glazers, I don't even know that was a desire of theirs. I think they just wanted to milk it for as much money as they could humanly get by spending as little as possible.
Mitten had a great line a few years ago, which was like, if you went to the Glazers and said, look, it's going to cost 150 million in transfers every single season to maintain top 4, but if you give us 300, we could probably go and win the league. They'd be like, there's your 150.
Yeah. No, but they showed that, didn't they? Because look at the peaks and troughs with transfers. Do you remember, like, we finished second, albeit 19 points behind Manchester City. City go out and break their transfer record fee for Riyad Mahrez. We bought who was it? Was it Fred,
Dalot,
and Lee Grant? No respect to Fred, look, but that wasn't going to make up the 19 points difference to a club that's also gone out and broke their transfer record in the summer. But as far as Ineos were concerned, or not Ineos, sorry, the Glazers were concerned, that's enough to keep you in the top 4.
And then you have a bad summer.
Yeah.
And you finish 6th, and you sack your manager, and then you spend 225 million.
Well, the writing was on the wall once Ronaldo went.
Yeah. Well, the first time round.
Yeah. We've just replaced the best player on the planet, which we got a world record fee with Michael fucking Owen, Obertan, and Antonio Valencia. High five.
And don't forget, I know everyone hates him, but don't forget, we also lost Tevez.
I was going to say.
To one of our rivals, which is a double fucking whammy.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for, I know you've said this on a million videos, Steve, which is true. If it wasn't for the genius of Sir Alex Ferguson, that would have been the end of Manchester United probably challenging at the top level. But we actually carried on winning titles and went to Champions League finals.
But it was only the work that we did prior to the Glazers coming in.
Yeah, because you had, was Rooney,
Rio.
Like, you had the foundation there already, Ronnie. Like, it was already there. And obviously Fergie's there. And with Fergie, you've always got a puncher's chance of winning a title.
Yeah. Let's have a look at this comparison then. I know, obviously, Jay, in terms of a direct relationship between what Arsenal did and what we did, you're not a fan of the sort of, exact comparison. But what we do want, what we all want Man United to do is go from not challenging to challenging.
Yeah.
So we have to maybe look at some tips and tricks from teams that have done that. And like I said before, there's not many that did it in an organic, repeatable way, other than Liverpool a little bit and probably to a greater extent Arsenal, in terms of the clear out. And Arsenal had that same sort of feeling of toxicity there. You had older players on big money, the likes of Ozil, Aubameyang, players like that who were sort of the faces of the team, but were actually symbols of what was wrong with it rather than things that were right with it. So just looking at a few of the sort of comparisons, Arteta came in mid-season. I think they were 11th place at the time. Amorim came in, we were 13th place. Again, a couple of notches lower, worse. The difference straight away is Arteta's run to start with was better, but he had a 48% win rate in that first season. Amorim had a 44%. Most of that was being propped up by a good run in the Europa League, but again, we'll never know how that affected the league form. There was a 7-game winless streak in there. There was a Europa Cup exit to Olympiacos in 2020, a big 3-0 loss to Man City, big pressure and calls for Arteta to be sacked. Then there was the FA Cup win. That was the big thing that sort of, like you said, gave him that, like, right, I'm putting that there, and that's a barrier for people's criticism, at least for a little bit. But then it was the squad overhaul, getting rid of Ozil, getting rid of Aubameyang, Guendouzi, Torreira, others. And there was sort of 5 windows there where they went, I think, like you said, 8th, 5th, or 5th, 8th, whatever it was. They finished 8th in that second season. And they kind of had to bring a load of different players in. So from when he came in to when they started challenging, it was basically culminated in those Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko signings from City. Even though you wouldn't say they are massively successful now, they were the last 2 signings before they then went and challenged for the league, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
They were the 21st and 22nd signings under Arteta.
He signed over 40 odd, hasn't he?
He signed absolutely
How's
shitloads
that
now.
happened?
I can tell you how many he signed. So he signed, I think, 50.
Someone did something in the summer which was
42.
like, whatever. Since Arteta's been at Arsenal, 5 years, he's signed 42. I think prior to us getting probably Sesko, maybe Cunha and Mbumo, 42 signings prior to that. It was under Herrera.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And he's done that. So, but and looking at not just the signings overall, but the ones that were brought in with sort of first team ambition, because there's a difference between a Chido Obi and Mateus Cunha in terms of.
We probably included them in that.
Yeah. So Willian, who was a free transfer but played a lot of games as a first team player for Chelsea. There was Gabriel, obviously, who is now a first team player. Thomas Partey, Martin Ødegaard.
He was an unmitigated success, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
No controversies.
Ben White was a lot of money. Ramsdale was a lot of money. Fabio Vieira never really got to be a first team player, but was 35 million euros, so wasn't brought in as a backup. Then Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko. So I would say 9 first team ready or first team sort of targeted transfers there. Amorim's had 4.
Yeah.
I think that just in and of itself is a huge difference in terms of where you could expect a manager to be with a even more different system maybe than Arteta was playing.
And look how many we've lost.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's another element to this.
I do feel like you're right. I get it. Like Arteta spent a lot of money on some big name players, and I feel like there is a bit more pressure on him now because it's like, look, we've been second, we've been semi-finals at the Champions League. Now's the time to sort of to win one of the big competitions. I know he's won the FA Cup, but I mean like win a title or Champions League. So I do feel there's pressure there. And I do sympathise with Amorim to the extent that he is still in this sort of overhaul process. We've lost some big names like Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Antony, and he's also brought in all the players that we've already mentioned. The problem that Amorim's got for me is that whilst all those things are true, there's still that we should be beating Grimsby Town. We shouldn't have lost the finals to Spurs. We shouldn't have been knocked out of the FA Cup to Fulham. Do you know what I mean? Like we shouldn't have lost been knocked out of the Carabao last season to Spurs again. Like it's like the whole fact of yes, you're still doing this change. Yes, it's still an overhaul. Yes, we still get it, but you should still be finishing higher than 15th, despite all that. Yeah. That's the problem you've got if you're Ruben Amorim, and that's the only concern I've got as someone who wants him to succeed is if he doesn't improve it. I don't know how long Sir Jim Ratcliffe's back is going to last for. Even if you're saying, well, look, I've had 4 signings. Mikel Arteta, who you compare me to, has had 40 odd. Yeah, great, but we're still 15th, and I'm 72 years old. I'm not going to wait forever. Like that's my only concern. Is he has to show a bit more.
I guess there is an assumption though within those 3 years. He's saying it might take 3 years, or it'll take 3 years.
3 years and a whole, I think.
That within those 3 years though, you are seeing improvement.
It's not at the end of that 3 years. Okay, let's start looking.
No, it's not going to be, we've been shit for 3 years, click first.
Yeah.
I think the assumption will be that within those 3 years it's this and then sort of this. Do you know what I mean? Eventually we're going to come through that. Do you think the 3 years, Steve, is a fair number? Do you think that's an arbitrary number? Do you think that's the amount of time it takes to build a squad? Why do you think he said 3 years, and do you agree with it?
It probably is a little bit arbitrary, but also it's a lot longer, or it's... What's the most anyone's had?
At United? 2.5.
Post
2 and a bit.
It's only the longest.
So he got from sort of Christmas to November. So
nearly 3.
Nearly 3. But 2 full seasons, his interim, and then the bit of the last season, But no one's had 3 yet.
So maybe that's why. It's just a bit longer than anybody else has had.
Yeah.
There's got to be some method to the madness, I think. But that might be it. It might be a case of, okay, in 3 years, what will we have seen? Probably 2 full seasons. So even if this one goes west, I still think he's got to have at least I feel like it might have to be top 8 or 9. I don't think 10th sees him here next season.
Yeah.
I think he definitely sees out this season. I think that's what 3 years tells you, is that he gets this season regardless.
Yeah.
But I think if it's 15th, it might be a handshake at the end of the season. I think he gets to see this season out, even if it's proper shit. But he might go if he does.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, go on. Finish your point.
I was going to say, I think if it's 8th or higher, he might get. They might look into the circumstances of where was it short, and then have an intelligent discussion about, okay, well, if we got Wharton Baleba, what does that look like next year? 4th or higher. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you make of the signings? Because I think like the signings under Ineos feel like they could help Amorim, obviously, but also they're almost manager-proof, these signings. I honestly think that someone like Sesko could play for almost any manager. I think that someone like Mbeumo and Cunha or De Ligt or Mazraoui, I don't think they're just specifically signings. I know some of them happened before he'd even arrived, but they're Ineos signings. I feel like these are signings that, because they're so young, most of them.
They're good.
Because they're so good, and because many of them have top-level experience, that even if it doesn't work out with Amorim, I think the new manager won't have to have another big overhaul.
Well, that's going to be the thing that wins us leagues or not, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or certainly gets us back up there. A great team with a shit manager can probably finish top 4.
Yeah.
A shit team with a great manager, you can maybe scrape European football.
Yeah.
You can have a fantastic moment and do something, but what you really need, and what all of the best teams are, is great team, great manager. We don't know if Amorim's a great manager yet. We know we haven't got a great team. So Ineos's biggest job is give us 13 or 11 to 15 players who they're not all going to be world class, but make up a world class squad. Because without that, what hope do you really have of being a successful, consistent title challenging team? It just doesn't exist. So that's their biggest job. Amorim being here for the duration and being able to get the best out of a great squad, we'll find out. But let's get the great squad first.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're going to be a team that can sneak an FA Cup or a League Cup based on the size of the club, that kind of, the Stretford and drawing the ball in once in a while. But you're not going to be a top challenging team consistently if your squad is just slightly above average. Because that's never happened.
And also with Amorim, there's all the signings are an age where they should be here for a few years. That's not happened before, really, has it? Oli had Cavani, had Ronaldo, Jose had, I think Sanchez was 29, Matic was 29. Zlatan, fucking hell. Also
Cavani, did you say that?
Yeah, I said Cavani. Cavani as well.
Zlatan.
Yeah.
Sanchez.
There's always been that short term. Even Ten Hag had Casemiro, didn't he? I don't know how much he wanted him, but he got him.
Yeah.
29. All these signings could carry on for the next 4 or 5 years at least.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the signings under Ineos as a whole,
Lenny Euro could be 15.
That's what.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, don't imagine. Imagine his careers at United. I'd be buzzing.
How many sort of duds or even sort of bad signings do we think there are out of these? So Lenny Euro, I would
amazing.
No,
Unmitigated success.
Yeah. Ugarte, jury's out, leaning towards not great. That seems to be the general consensus at the minute.
I don't think anyone can look good in midfield when you're playing on your own.
Yeah, okay. I agree. Delict, I think excellent signing.
Fantastic.
Xerxes, erring towards not great. It seems like he might leave in January.
Erring towards it's not working out.
Yeah. Dorgan for 25 minutes, I think.
Wait,
excellent.
go back on Xerxes though.
Oh, go on.
He ain't playing.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of a cult following about him.
That's why I didn't want to say he's not good enough. It's not working out because he ain't playing.
And I think as a transfer, potentially leaving 18 months after you arrived,
probably not a good sign.
Isn't a hell of a...
probably not. Probably could have been better.
Yeah.
I think Mazraoui for 15 million euros is a sensational signing. So that's last summer, or the summer, 24-25 summer. Then this summer, Sesko, I think, these are all juries out, but looks like a decent player.
Brian Mbeumo is no jury.
Oh, well, there you go. So Brian Mbeumo...
Absolutely not. He's our best footballer.
Excellent. Mateus Cunha, I like him.
Does what it says on the tin.
And Lomans, we don't know yet, but looks to be a decent player.
Judging off,
absolutely flawless.
Yeah,
judging off that game against Sunderland, is perfect.
Out of those 1, 2, 3, 4,
Jay's already
5,
put him
6,
in the top 3 goalkeepers we've ever had.
Yeah,
7, 8, 9, 10.
There's only less Sealy and Van der Sar above him.
Out of those 10 transfers, we've looked at 2 where you go probably not quite there so far,
and it's 50-50.
And it's 50-50.
That's what your hit rate's meant to be.
Yeah,
so we're at 80.
So far we're 80%, which is
we're in for a mad summer, lads.
And let's compare that.
Sean Foot and Langstaff, come on down, 75 million.
Well, we almost did that.
Yeah,
so let's go back to the 2 before that then. So it was Hoyland, turned out bad.
Yeah, it didn't work out. I know he's doing well at Napoli, but that doesn't mean he was a good signing for Manchester United.
Mason Mount, jury's out, erring on good.
No,
I would say no.
You can't call him good yet.
But I think
he's had 2 fucking good games in 2 years.
His current trajectory is a positive one, but overall the signing hasn't.
The jury's out. I think it's fair.
Onana, poor.
No.
Amrabat, again, let's not even count it really because he's a second choice. It's not his fault. He's had to play so many.
Wembley.
Then the season before
that pitch has ever seen.
Then the season before that, it was Anthony, horrific. Casemiro has done a job, but wasn't worth the 70 million euros we paid for him. It was
good first season, Casemiro.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was good.
But we've had 2 seasons and a bit since then.
He was good, but he missed a lot of games as well.
Yeah,
he was suspended for 9 of them.
I love how his weight goes up and down.
Yeah,
he has a little chubby hamster face going on.
Big fan of that one.
Lissandro Martinez, who I think has been a good signing, but has missed a lot of time for injury. Yeah. And then Tyrell Malacia. So out of those permanent sort of first team signings, you've got
that might be our worst ever summers.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So out of those 9, we've got maybe 2 successors.
Did you count Christian Eriksen?
I didn't actually. I probably should have done. So yeah, he was a success. That was a successful transfer. So there you go. So we've got
played a lot of football.
3 successes out of about 10.
So
already we're seeing a noticeable. Again, we're too early to say on this season's, but it seems as though there's a bit more.
It feels like Ineos are a little bit.
Our best signing that summer, a guy that came back from the dead.
Yeah, that's pretty mad, isn't it?
No, it's mad. It's true. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Andy Carroll, he'd have had a fucking even better United career.
Yeah.
Scouse dickhead. I think that this time round feels different in Ineos in the sense that they're buying players that not just the manager going, I want him because I've seen him play really well in Portugal once.
I want him because my agency allegedly gets a kickback.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's that. Whereas with some of those Ten Hag signings, even the Mason Mount one, you thought, oh, well, he's seen him at Chelsea. And it was like, no, he hasn't. He saw him at, was it Vitesse Arnhem or something?
Yeah, he trained with him at Vitesse, yeah.
That's why he wanted him.
Oh, dude, the Ten Hag WhatsApp group transfers was fucking legendary, wasn't it?
What's going on? You know what I mean?
But
like, how is this happening?
Have I got his number? Then we're not signing him.
Yeah. And also,
you can get his number after.
We don't know that Amorim isn't doing the same thing, but what we do know is...
Well, we know that he doesn't know these players from managing them or playing against them in Portugal.
We don't know that he's not asking for... No, what I'm saying is, we don't know that he's not saying, get this guy from Sporting, this guy from Portugal.
All right, sorry.
All we know is they aren't being signed.
Yeah.
So whatever the reason is...
Probably is saying what you've just said, to be fair.
But what we do know with Ten Hag is the exact opposite.
He was Barada and Wilcox are like, what? Just write on a piece
because
of paper.
Because they're fucking football people.
That's exactly the point.
Leave it on the floor over there and I'll look at it later.
So... In terms of how this next 2 seasons look then, because if we're saying 3 seasons, we're assuming he's sort of well into one. Do we think unless last season counts for absolutely nothing because he was coming part-time? But
it does for Sky, it might not with Ineos.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's got this season and 1 season after this to start showing some proper signs that things are getting better. Because, like you said, 2 15th finishes and that's not a thing.
I agree that. I think unless we're in real trouble, he'll probably get to the end of the season. Unless there's like Ineos are going, actually, United could go down here.
Yeah.
We cannot risk this. Then he's done. Or it becomes so toxic that he's just getting booed every week at Old Trafford and Sir Jim sat there thinking, I can't listen to this.
Yeah.
But I think worst case, realistic scenario is the end of the season, Ineos go, well, we finished 11th, this isn't good enough. But off you go.
On top of just progress as a term, what, Steve, do you actually think we need to see or will see should things be heading in the right direction?
Back-to-back wins.
That's a start.
Let's start there.
It's insane.
In terms of where we finish, how we look, what's more important to you in terms of a bigger picture thing here? Like, in 3 years' time, Man United are challenging for the league. What kind of has to happen along the way, landmark moments or landmark points to get us there?
I don't know if you're going to see landmark checkpoints in a way. I think it'll be a feeling as much as it will be provable points to the results. I think there will be a feeling that you can go to places and compete, not go to places and just get bent over.
Yeah.
I think if you can go to the likes of Anfield and come away and go, we was unlucky there, not fucking hell, we was miles off them, because that's a totally different vibe, innit? And we've had a few, Jesus Christ. I mean, look at Spurs in the Europa League final. Yeah. It was just dismal.
Yeah.
I think if you go, do you know what? We had a really good go and we just didn't have it in us today. Or it was an unlucky, deflected, bullshit referee call, whatever it is. I think that would feel a little like you can still lose games but not have the thingy. But in between them games, the big games where you're playing against what used to be our rivals when we was in the top half of the table. Aren't we 10th at the minute?
Yeah. Technically bottom half.
Looking up though.
Yeah.
If you can start racking up some wins, like I said the other day, if you can put 6 or 7 wins out of the next 10, it will feel different. The table will be different. And I think that alone could feel like a marker, could feel like a checkpoint, could feel like a stop on the way to actually getting this party started.
Yeah. Technically top half, by the way. Correction. Do you agree with that, Jay? Do you think it will be almost more of a feeling of actually we can go there and compete? And we kind of had that a little bit at Anfield last season. I thought we went there and competed and matched them and got a draw. I feel like we had that against Arsenal this season. Obviously, like Steve mentioned, the games in between, some results in particular, the Grimsby one, I think the Fulham one didn't go down well either, and the Brentford one have been so poor that they almost make up and then some for the fact that we look good in a couple of these big games. But do you think that those other results are as important as the big games, or do you think it will be that kind of actually in these big moments we can sort of hang out where we didn't used to be able to?
I feel like it's got to be one or the other at least. Ideally both.
Yeah.
I feel like you've got to put a run together where, like Steve was saying, maybe it's 7 wins out of 10 or something where you can go, okay, you know what, we're sat in 6th place. We've won the majority of our matches, and I feel actually quite confident in this side when we're up against the majority of teams. Or you have a big performance and a big result against a very good team. We had a good performance against Arsenal, but we lost.
Yeah.
Like, had we won that, then you could have gone, well, we've just beaten a team that's finished 2nd for the last 3 seasons running. We played well, we got a win against them, fantastic. Even though we didn't win, a lot of us, myself included, were like, look, there's a lot of positives there, and I actually felt quite, not, buzzing when I left Old Trafford, but I was all right. I didn't feel like deflated. So I do feel like you need one or the other, because at the minute we haven't had either, really. No. I know we had the draw at Anfield, but it was a draw. I know we beat City at Etihad, and that is always a good result. I'm not going to dismiss it completely, but it was a City team that were in their worst run since all the money came in. And it was a bit of a smash and grab, so it wasn't like we just dominated them. And like in the FA Cup final, I felt that was a very good victory. Yeah. That was, we were well worth our win, and I think 2-1 actually flattered them a little bit. So I just think you need something, a little either or, because at the minute we haven't had a run. We haven't done out in the cups. I know we got to a final, but we lost to Spurs, so that sort of negates any positive feelings you've got from getting to the final. At least lose to
like Athletic and
losing to Spurs in a final undermines the argument.
Stuff.
Of we got to a final because but you lost to fucking Spurs.
Yeah, you lost to your own grandmas.
And we didn't have a run, and we haven't really beaten convincingly one of the big boys. So it just feels a little bit like we're waiting for something to happen. We just need one of those 3 things, really. Probably not a cup run, because that doesn't happen until January anyway. So it needs to be a decent run, or beating the big boys, or ideally fucking both. Let's get back-to-back wins by beating fucking Arsenal, beating Liverpool, Anfield. That'd be the dream scenario, wouldn't it? Yeah, you can start getting a bit of momentum and beat the reigning champions in their backyard, where we haven't won for fucking about a decade or whatever it is.
Yeah. I agree. Let's do it.
Just finally on this before we move on and talk about some of this takeover stuff. Has what Ratcliffe said changed the way you look at the season now? Has it changed how you view Amorim's safety and the squad and the goals for the season? Has it, do you think it makes a difference in saying stuff like that?
A little bit. It does feel like he's sort of erring towards backing him, innit? Obviously, he won't come out and say that. However, I do feel that it's the most obvious thing anyone can say. You have to get results. I know it's so stupidly obvious, but it's true. And the difficulty we've got, and Amorim's got, is if we replicate the form we've had since he arrived, if that continues, I don't think he'll last much longer. Because I think it's still relegation type form, innit? So he has to improve
overall
on that.
It is.
Yeah, overall, sorry, yeah. So he has to improve on that. So we'll see. I feel if you ask me a binary question, am I glad that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's come out and said what he said? Yeah, I am. I would rather he said it than he didn't. But I don't think that if I'm Ruben Amorim, I'm thinking, right, let's buy green bananas.
Yeah. Would you agree, Steve? Do you think it's changed the way the media and the fan base will look at Amorim's sort of security?
Well, that's 2 different things.
Okay.
Will it change the media? No.
Yeah.
Has it changed me? Nope. Will it change some fans? I don't know. I can't speak for all fans. I feel like probably not in the grand scheme of things. I'm glad, like Jay said, though, I'm glad he said it.
Yeah. But surely then that has changed something about the way you view the situation. No. So what?
Because I thought it required time regardless, so it doesn't.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm just happy he said that and back that, because it might quieten some of the noise down. I don't think it will quiet all the noise down, but I think it might quieten some of it down. Or at least you can push back against it.
Yeah.
Like if we lose against Liverpool, people are like, who's got to go now? Well, he told you fucking couple days ago. Yeah. He ain't going anywhere, so shut your mouth.
Yeah.
He's timed it quite well as well.
Yeah.
Because had we lost to Sunderland, this would have been viewed as an insane thing to say.
Yeah.
And I don't think just because you beat Sunderland that means that everything's sunshine and rainbows. I just mean that off the back of a win where people can be a little bit more philosophical about where we're at, the time is not too shabby.
And when you've won 3 of your last 5, which I know it was win, loss, win, so it's not, you can't rely on any of this.
Yeah.
But it's better, like you said, than doing it when you've won 1 of your last 5.
Yeah, if he said it after the Brentford game, everyone would be like, Sir Jim Ratcliffe can fuck off with Amorim. That would have been the feeling. It would have.
There's a lot of that anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, if we win 3 of every 5 games between now and the end of the season, that's a fucking world better. That's a 60% win rate, which is more than double Amorim's current win rate. That would be great.
Very good, that.
Obviously, we don't know if that will happen. Let's move on
if
and
you
talk.
Take it back down to just the last game, we were 100%.
Christ, we're going to win the league. Unbelievable.
But it's also with lemons in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a 100% win rate as well.
Yes.
And 100% clean sheet.
And a 0% coming out, missing the ball and getting sent off rate.
Exactly.
Which almost wasn't the case. Let's move on to this takeover stuff. Just in the middle of the night, for some reason, Turki Al-Sheikh, who is sort of the face of Saudi boxing, is very much integrated in the world of sport, the world of modern sport, how sport is evolving around the world, kind of at the forefront of it, realistically. Came out and tweeted, best news, Man United is now in advanced stages of completing a deal to sell to a new investor. He is the only person on earth that seems to have heard this information, but he is a pretty good person to have heard it, if you know what I mean. Like, if any one person will have heard this, someone that is very much at the forefront of sport in the Middle East may be the one. What did you make of it, Jay, when you saw that news? Do you think it's bollocks? Do you think he's heard? Obviously, I guess he will have probably heard something, but what's going on there?
In all honesty, I just don't know.
Yeah.
We've had this before. We had it with the Qatari takeover, where people with massive accounts. I know this guy's probably a lot more prominent than some of the Qatari journalists who were tweeting things at the time. But you had people with a lot of followers who were tweeting things, and everyone's changing the markets and all sorts was going on, and a lot of that stemmed from some kid in Cardiff on his laptop in his bedroom. Like, you just don't know where it's coming from, this information. But this guy has a certain level of credibility. But again, I don't know. There was people who I know and trust who might have won a Champions League at Manchester United and been mates with Stephen Howson, who said things about Qatar and we all thought, well, that's going to happen. Yeah. And it turned out that they'd been given misinformation. So this guy could have been given misinformation or could be just doing a bit of mischief making. We don't know. I don't know. I've never heard of him until this morning. So I can't say I'm like 100% backing him or dismissing him. We'll have to wait and see.
Jay, just go in. Just pick a side.
Oh, sorry. All right. Yeah, it's happening. Yeah.
He's gone that way.
Yeah, we'll be like the Newcastle fans in 6 weeks, sat outside Old Trafford football singing. We've got, Lionel Messi,
Cristiano Ronaldo cleaning the boots.
We've got
Victoria Beckham washing out kits.
That's the one thing that you can look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Melons.
Yeah. Absolute melons everywhere doing that.
Half and half thobes.
Oh, honestly.
What do you think of it, Steve? In terms of reliability, in terms of just when you saw the news, what do you make of it?
I didn't know who he was. I had a quick Google and it was like he's a minister of sport. And I was like, oh, probably a fella that might know.
Yeah.
At least know something. I find him coming out and saying it after... Did you see the Cristiano Ronaldo clip? I think it was a good few months ago when it happened. I don't know the exact date it was.
What was it?
He's being interviewed and he says, I'm going to buy United one day. And then it's a British presenter, but I can't remember her name. She kind of goes, wait, what? And then he goes, yeah, one day I will own one of the biggest football clubs in the world. He goes United, and then he kind of goes, oh shit.
Could be anyone.
Yeah, just a really big club. So maybe you're opening the door for, maybe it's Real Madrid, maybe it's, obviously can't be fan owned, but which people forget that, by the way. Yeah. It could be Sporting, could be whoever. It could be any club that he's been connected to in the past. But he kind of goes in quite hard, says, I'll buy United one day. And then he kind of goes, oh shit, actually, I'll buy a big club one day. I want to be an owner. And you think, okay, with the connections, I mean, he needs to be playing in Saudi to have them connections regardless.
Yeah.
He's just probably quite a well-connected guy that people want to be part of anything that he does. When you look at the success Beckham's had with, and even the Class of 92 boys with, Peter Lim and the access that they got to buy Salford, he was just a random-ass billionaire. Why wouldn't someone want Cristiano Ronaldo to maybe be the face of a consortium that they were putting together?
I suppose, obviously...
Or have I just come up with five?
Well, you might have, but we don't know any more than just... We haven't even got the equation to put an answer together. We've just got a single piece of an equation here, and we're trying to reverse engineer all of it. I think we're assuming, because of the fact that this guy is from Saudi, that this is therefore a Saudi or Middle Eastern takeover.
Right. It's Putin.
Which isn't necessarily the case. Like you said, Ronaldo probably knows everyone. He probably knows everyone. He probably knows the American.
Well, if he's responsible for Riyadh season.
Yeah.
Think about who he's had to speak to
everyone on the planet. Yeah. And we saw recently, didn't we? It was who was it who had the takeover that was sort of organised by Clear Lake?
Oh, Kerry Katona.
That's the one. Organised by Clear Lake, but with sort of Saudi money. I think it was EA was bought, the games company, for like 50-60 billion, and that was like Saudi have bought it. But actually, you look at it, and Saudi are one portion of this consortium. So everyone's linked to the Americans, to the Saudis, to the whatever, everywhere in the world, every rich country in the world. It does seem a weird thing to just tweet, because you're a bloke who, I know the way they do things internally doesn't require a lot of, yeses and nos and confirmation. They can just sort of do what they want. But when you're dealing with the world market, you do have to have NDAs, have to hide stuff and agree to stuff and reveal stuff. It's not just the world is just yours to gossip about. So it would surprise me he would say it had things not been kind of agreed. But then all of the British press are saying, we've not heard anything about this. Yes, technically, United are back up for sale in a way because...
Rio's on his way to a train station right now.
Exactly, to record another cryptic video.
But no, it wasn't even cryptic. It wasn't cryptic.
Wasn't fucking
cryptic. It was as emphatic as you can be.
The problem is it wasn't.
He said
today. Yeah. Everyone was like, right, must be true.
But I think it's such a weird thing for someone of his importance and his kind of position to tweet if it's just utter bollocks.
Funny if he's just
I'd love to know what he's at least referencing.
Well, is there a certain element of sort of vagueness to it where it could be interpreted 100 different ways? Like, wasn't it new investor?
Yeah, he did. I guess he said sell to a new investor, which you assume...
Does that mean the entire
whole
club?
thing? Does it mean 8%?
Yeah.
But then why would he be excited by a minority investor? Because it could be his friend.
It could be his friend who's buying a bit of a stake in the club and he wants to just sort of promote that idea, or is it, he's just because it's someone he knows who's going to come with some new ideas or whatever. I don't know. It's so difficult to sort of work out from one tweet off a guy none of us really had heard of until this morning what this all means. It's almost impossible. Go on.
Do you want us to be bought out?
No, not by Saudi.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and say, should we ask Jamal Khashoggi what he thinks of the Newcastle takeover, and then 2 years later go, oh yeah, it's great that we're getting taken over by the Saudis though. No, I don't, and that's nothing against... I know I've highlighted some of the issues.
At what point is it the Saudi government and is it not just some fella from Saudi?
It very much feels like this is the Saudi government. You just said he was a minister a minute ago.
Yeah, but so what?
Well, it's not his money, is it? If it's going to be the Saudis...
If it can't be PIF, because PIF already have an ownership of Newcastle.
I'm sure, because Saudi wouldn't find a way around that.
And also...
that might be the loophole that I'm fucking swinging on.
The Saudi royal family don't... They say they don't own Newcastle anyway.
No, but PIF does.
Yes, exactly. But what I'm saying is they are clearly hugely involved in PIF, and yet they don't own Newcastle.
But PIF is what owns Newcastle, I think.
Yeah.
So PIF couldn't also own Manchester United because there's regulations around being involved in two clubs at once.
Yeah, but
so we're going to need a fella, and I reckon he's called Keith.
Yeah. Well, that's very possible. That's what I'm saying. But it could still be them.
My attitude towards being owned by a state isn't just about Saudi, by the way. I don't want to be owned by any state. I've always said that. And I've always criticised City and PSG and Newcastle for going down that route. I'd rather we didn't, to be honest with you. That doesn't mean I'm completely enamoured of everything that Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe have done. I just, I want to be able to sit here and slag off the owners without worrying about my health and safety.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
So it's Putin and we're all safe.
Yeah.
He's never done anything.
I've always loved Vladimir.
See, I agree with you. I would rather... And also, we're 18 months into a new project. I don't want to press the reset button again, and everyone goes and everyone comes back in.
Well, how do we know that it isn't Ineos that have got the funding? Because it says investor.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could be Cristiano Ronaldo. It could be fucking David Beckham.
It's
for all we know, like genuinely, we don't know.
It couldn't be because of the Salford thing.
I'm pretty sure.
I think we need to
walk away from that.
The loopholes are bigger than.
But and he already walks away from Salford anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I wasn't up to speed.
I think so. I mean, I don't know.
But it could be anything. But if it is a consortium of just people who cashed up and Cristiano Ronaldo is involved in it in some way, and it isn't the Saudi government, I can give a fuck where it is. And like we said earlier, you could be going out the frying pan and into the fire. I don't feel like you would be.
Well, also, wouldn't Ineos want to take any available kind of deal
Shares
and shares, because they wanted 50%, 51% to start with, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't think this is Ineos going away. I think this is the mechanism in which. Think about what Ineos have done. They've come in, they've actually put their own hand in their own pocket, they've got football people involved, they've said they want to win the league in 3 years, not looking mental in the slightest, by the way. They've come out and said, we're going to build this stadium with a net and a trident and all that sort of stuff, and then actually maybe we're not, actually we couldn't buy all the land that we wanted to. And we need a couple of billion investment to be able to do all of that. And then this week he's come out and said the manager's going nowhere for 3 years, and United in the next whatever will be one of the most profitable, sustainable and successful clubs in the world. Think about all of that at the same time as sacking dinner ladies. Think about all of those things that he's come out and said. They have to have some plan to make that from A to B to C. They have to. Otherwise, they are mad as fuck.
Yeah.
They don't seem that mental.
So I wonder if this has always been on the fucking cards, that there was always going to be a shadowy third or fourth party that comes in. There was something, I can't remember the details of it, and I haven't looked into it since I said the same thing this morning, which is, I know that there was a mechanism for them to take an increasingly larger portion of the club. I know that there was. It was announced, and we spoke about it, and I think you might have even got Press of Football, Kieran
Maguire.
That's the fellow. To come and speak about it, because there was like staged, progressive sort of bigger chunks to get, and certain thresholds and share prices that needed to be hit for it to happen, and guarantees that the share price wouldn't go below certain thingies, or they would be able to be guaranteed at whatever agreed price in the future. Again, sorry, I can't remember the details on it. But when they put that together and they bought their 27.9% ownership, whatever it is that they bought, they must have had a plan to go from there to wherever the next stage is. They must have at least sat in the boozer and had a chat about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to see this.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where it goes. And the more it is of the Glazers leaving and that debt reducing, United don't actually need, the stadium aside, that's going to need someone to go and get a one-goal loan, I think. The stadium aside, United don't need operating cash if we didn't have the debt. The fact that the debt is there and exists, United would be mad profitable. We had record revenues last year and we were dog shit.
Yeah.
Like, you get us that debt cleared and fuck them parasites off, it can be literally anybody. Someone funds the stadium, sorted. And we are off and running to the races. And we don't need, you don't need workarounds for PSR, you don't need workarounds for FFP. We make money. You just got to stop shelling it out to interest payments.
Yeah, massively.
One day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lovely place to end the podcast. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Get your thoughts in on the takeover stuff, this cryptic one-tweet story, and also this Ruben Amorim kind of backing by Jim Ratcliffe. What do you make of it? Do you think he'll stick to his word? Or does it make you feel more secure about the future of Manchester United? Thank you very much for joining us. Hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you in a bit.